Welcome back to the show. My name is True. We are Green Room Radio. I am here with Little Rach.
What's going on, guys?
We got a very special guest in the building today.
We got Lazarus, a.k.a. Dr. Khan, in the building.
Dr.
What's
Khan,
going on?
What's going on? All depends on the day.
Yeah.
It depends on the time, actually.
Rapper and doctor at the same time. Like,
And
that's a
let's just-
crazy life. Like,
Let's
what?
get this out real quick. What up, though?
What up, though?
And
If
the
you
fellow
from the D,
Detroiter.
Can't start without a what up, though.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so let's start with this with the Dr. Khan.
Sure.
That is very interesting, man. At what age did you realize that you wanted to be a doctor?
It was early. I was probably in middle school, somewhere around that time. You know, my grandmother on both sides of my family,
Yep.
passed away from diabetes. So that was a big starting point for me, to kind of venture towards the field of medicine. And then it just stuck with me, and I just did really well in school.
Did
I
any
did.
parents, dads, mom?
Of course, yeah.
Were
of
they,
course.
I mean, no,
No,
were they in medicine or
No.
not?
There's no doctors in my
No
family at all. I'm actually the first in my family to be a physician. But I got a presidential scholarship to Wayne State University, and so that's kind of where my journey into pre-med started. And I
Yeah,
started
shout out to Wayne State.
Where's that at?
It's in Michigan.
Okay.
downtown
Yep.
Detroit.
Downtown.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's where I was at. That's also where the rapper Lazarus was birthed at the same time. So it was the Dr. Khan in the making, and it was also Lazarus in the making. And the conflicts that kind of occurred between the two were just insane.
What side of town did you live on out there?
West Side?
So
Yeah.
that's where you went to like high school and stuff?
Yeah.
What was the name of your high school?
Close to Dearborn, the Southfield.
Southfield.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So then after that, I went to Wayne State for my undergrad.
Yeah.
And then after that, medical school was Michigan State University.
Yeah,
And you were rapping
wow.
the whole time during this?
I was rapping throughout the whole time. It was very difficult to make the time during, medical school and residency because you're working like 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day, sometimes more. So to make time for music, to make time for hip hop was like really, really, really difficult. But, it was in me. It was like a passion for me to do that.
What age were you when you realized that?
I was probably, when I realized that I wanted to do hip hop seriously, I was probably like 20. I
So
was
see,
probably
that's
20.
that. I mean, I think that I would consider that. Well, I don't know if I'd consider it late. I mean, I know a lot of people will start younger, but
Right.
they don't really. I don't
Well,
think
I've
people
been-
really develop into their.
I've been like, into hip hop. I've been actually writing since I was like 17, 18.
Yep.
But 20 is probably when I felt like hip hop could be a serious career for me moving forward.
Do you write all your own stuff?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and I mean, what do you think about the people who don't write?
I mean, I don't have anything negative to say about people who have ghostwriters and stuff. It's just for me, like my sense of pride of lyricism and who I am as a lyricist is to be able to write your own bars. That's the criteria that
Well,
that
that's
I put
what I
myself
mean.
under.
Would you think this? Like I said, I'm gonna use Drake. No issues with Drake, but when people are writing and you're coming with so many hits, I mean, as a rapper, wouldn't you feel weird? Like for instance, that song, I got a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be hard to sing that if you didn't really grow up?
I mean,
in that
I think
type of atmosphere?
I think to like the superficial audience, it doesn't matter. But I think it's the hardcore hip hop heads that really matters too, because then
Yes.
when
Yeah.
you really dissect it, the people that actually care, like the reaction video people, the people that actually want to dissect the bars, for them it's gonna matter. But for the general audience, they just want to have a good time and listen to good music. They don't care. And that's the gist of the people that are probably buying your records. But the people that actually love the sport of hip hop, they're gonna be like, well, he didn't really write that, so it doesn't count. That's some people look at it that way.
Yeah, well, that's what coming. I mean, obviously being from Detroit, like I said, I have a real, my scrutiny of people.
Yeah.
It's tough because
yeah.
Detroit's all real MCs.
It's all real MCs.
And I come out here and all over, just traveling around the world, meeting people, and they're not real MCs, and they might give you this song that's so polished.
Yeah.
And it's like, would it take you a year to make this?
Yeah.
Did you make this in one day? I mean, how long did it take you?
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, I don't know. I guess there's nothing wrong with either way, but when you generally write a song, how long does it normally take you?
It depends on the song, because if it's a song where I'm just going bars in, it could be quick. I could put a song together in the studio same day. I'm very particular though about my bars because I do a lot of the internal stuff, I don't just superficially write. Like I have a lot, like I'll do 12, 13, 14 syllable schemes. I put the entendres, the punchline. So all that stuff matters to me. So there's like different layers of thought that go into the process for me. as compared to if I'm just wanting to go in the studio and just kind of lay down something quick. But I don't do that no more. So I do take my time on my verses. But you know, there's certain records, like I did Pale Blue Dot, which is the first song to play from outer space in music history.
I saw that on your Instagram. I was like, what in the world? So
Yeah,
you
so that
actually
really
made a
happened?
song
What
in
out of
outer
the-
space?
What out of the world, actually.
What out of the world?
Yeah.
So that
Actually, though.
Yeah, that happened April 7th, 2023,
God.
last year. So I hooked up with NASA.
What?
So yeah.
How do you hook up with NASA?
Yeah, this is crazy.
Gotta get into that, right? So basically,
Yeah.
Please.
what happened was, you know, I was a big voice in the hip hop community during the whole pandemic because Chuck D is like my mentor.
Shout
me
out
and
to
him,
Chuck
me and,
D. I
yeah,
got a
shout out
picture
to
with
Chuck
him right there. on
for
that
sure.
camera.
That's my big brother, mentor. Like me and him just talk about hip hop all the time together. And when I was on the front lines of COVID, like I was working overtime
Ooh, I didn't
in
even
the
think about
hospital.
that. Yeah.
You had all these different voices, you know, talking about what's going on, what's the treatment, what do we got to do in the situation. But because I was so involved in hip hop, it gave me, like, I was on Vlad TV all the time, giving interviews as Dr. Khan. And that's when I started really going as Dr. Khan and Lazarus, because Vlad had me as Dr. Khan on his
Yeah, I
show.
watched that when I was coming in today.
So then, you know, because I started getting on these platforms, I started getting invitations to go live with Fat Joe, LL Cool J, a lot of the big guys. The Wu-Tang members would be calling me because I was on tour with them.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say with the LL Cool J, man. LL Cool J is a difficult man to get a hold of.
Yeah, no.
So how did that all come about?
Yeah,
to
so
be able to-
it all happened in that same circuit. So it was during the pandemic. So I opened up closed a lot of doors, but it opened doors too, because at that time I got, you know, I was the go-to for the COVID. So that introduced me to a lot of the people. Redman, you know what I mean, LL, Fat Joe, a lot. And a lot of those guys started asking me medical questions. And then they got familiar with my hip hop, my MCing.
Did you believe? So I mean, obviously being a doctor, like for whatever reason, when COVID came out, like I didn't believe it, you know. And then them saying like these hospitals are overpacked and sold out. Was that really going on, or?
So that was the reason that I was going in front of all these cameras and talking to people about it, because it was real, you know. And a lot of people, unless they had family members or people close to them that passed away from COVID, they didn't, you know if it was real or not. So I wanted to give my firsthand experience. I'm not Dr. Fauci. I'm not the guy on TV that everybody has to listen to.
Whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know. They came and went, right?
Straight
He
up,
just
like
disappeared off the face of the earth. Did you see? You know, I know they say, you know, with the COVID, what I heard. So I didn't believe it. A girl that was on our show, her birthday was June 15th, and we had a little party. We had DJ Godfather, we had DJ Scribble here, and we did a little birthday party for her. Coolio performed, and again, I didn't take it serious. I'm like, oh, this is just some news bullshit or whatever.
Right.
And I'd say there's about 20 people here. And I'm leaving to go to LA the next day, and this girl calls me and she's like, I just want to let you know that I got COVID.
Yeah.
So like later on that day, I had just had a daughter. I was holding my daughter, and the hair on my arm stood up. And then I went to sleep that night, and I slept for like 18 hours. Wow. And so when I woke up, I'm like, damn, I don't ever do that. And so we were heading to LA. So this girl was like, well, maybe we should just do the little drive-through at UNLV. So we go through the drive-through, and me, her, and my daughter gets checked. And of course, it was the military. It was the real army in their army fatigues. And she's like one of those conspiracy theorists. So she's like, oh shit, they're gonna give it to you.
Right.
You might not got it right now, but they're gonna give it to you right now.
give you the vaccine.
No,
Give you
me
COVID.
Give me COVID.
Oh, with the nose.
So it was hysteria going around everywhere.
So
you can't really blame people for that.
No.
Yeah.
And so the crazy thing
No one
was,
knew what the
though,
fuck was going on.
we got to LA, checked in the hotels like midnight. My phone rings and it says, what is that, UMC?
Yeah.
And I answer, and they're like, are you in quarantine? And it's me, this
Oh,
girl, and my
shit.
baby all in the same room. And I'm like, no, what's going on? They're like, you're positive. And then they asked me, who's the last 10 people you've been around?
Oh,
and
wow.
for some reason, I knew not to give that. But I said the girl that I was with.
Yeah.
And of course, they text her just like that.
Yeah,
Boom.
no, the protocol was really crazy and serious. I
But-
think people didn't really know how to react in that situation. I mean, we never experienced that. our
Well,
whole
you know,
life.
the odd thing was the fact that they took the time to call me. And then what I said was I said, they're like, when did you think you got it? And I said, on June 15th.
Yeah.
And they go, well, this is the third day. So they're like, you're not contagious after 3 days. Because I'm like, what do? Do I drink orange juice? Do I eat a pill? Do I what? And they're just like, you just got to stay by yourself. They said after your third day, wear a mask. And that's it. And I was
Right.
just like,
Yeah.
okay. So I had it mild. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I was working out, I think, seven days later.
So I mean, the scenario for me was just really drastic because I'm in the same shoes as everybody else. You know, thinking like, is this real? Is it just an overblown flu? Like, what was the big deal? Then I come into work, and that's when I realized what was really going on. And I'm like, wait, why are all these people getting sick? Why are all these people like coming into the emergency room? You got people in their 20s, their 30s.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Getting super sick. I'm like, the flu ain't gonna make them do this. And then the scary thing was when I like 25-year-olds, 28-year-olds, 32-year-olds, I'm talking to them like I'm talking to you right now, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna give you these medications. Everything's gonna be good. The next day they're dead.
That's what I was gonna ask you. So
scary.
I thought it was something for older people or heavy set people.
Yeah.
Who's the youngest that you seen pass?
I think it was like a 26-year-old.
Wow, that's crazy.
26-year-old, and it's somebody had no medical history, no like family history, nothing, anything.
Seemed healthy.
Seemed completely healthy. I talked to their family like on the phone, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna discharge him tomorrow. Everything's gonna be good. You know, he's getting better. Next day he's dead, and then I got to call the family again and tell him that he passed away.
How do you deal with that as a
that was-
doctor, like
Wow,
giving
crazy.
that message to the patients?
There's like you get
The patient's
desensitized
family.
as a doctor because you got to deliver bad
get
news so
numb.
often. But that, you know, it got emotional.
Well,
for me.
I think
Yeah.
what's so emotional about that too is
the unexpectedness of it.
well, the
Yeah.
fact your family can't even be there, so they're
Yeah.
doing these
Yeah.
FaceTimes or
Uh-huh.
whatever.
Right, and it's through you that you're having to have the last moments of conversation between family and the patient.
That's
Exactly.
real.
And,
No,
and this is not somebody who's been sick or they're expected to have like worsening condition. These are people that all of a sudden, you know, they went from just this position to that position, you know.
Yeah, I had a real good friend of mine's dad pass, and like I said, she had to watch it.
Yeah.
He's out of Texas.
And then for me, it was not just, it was that. And then on top of that, because of their age and that that's happening to them, I'm at risk. You know, I know that could be me tomorrow. So there was that extra factor of fear going into every time I have to take all, scrub out all the clothes, put new clothes on for the next patient. And then every time you're getting close to the patient, deep down, I mean, obviously you're a professional physician, but deep down I'm thinking like, yo, this could be what causes my death.
How many physicians did you work with actually catch the COVID?
There was actually a pulmonologist that I worked. He's actually no longer working because he got so sick. He was working at that time and he almost died. He developed a blood clot, almost killed him.
Wow.
And when I see, and he's young too, young guy. So when I seen colleagues of mine, nurses getting sick, at that time it was a drastic situation. So it was the thing that got me through my day was like, yo, let me go home and tell people what I experienced. So I was really active on social media. And then when I was on Vlad TV, I did a whole podcast with Chuck D and a lot of guys and got the information out there. So I still haven't answered your NASA question because that's where
go back. Go back to NASA.
We kind of sidetracked in a little,
See, that's a hip hop person. They know how to get back to the
So
plan.
then I did this Clubhouse became a thing. You know, like social
Oh
media.
yeah, I remember
You had
Clubhouse.
All these things just start. Innovations came about during that time. People doing all interviews from their
Rest
home.
in peace, Clubhouse. I don't
Clubhouse. It
think-
came and went too.
I don't
just
think
like
anyone
Dr.
ever
Fauci.
uses that again.
But when I was on a Clubhouse and speaking on COVID, and you know when you're on your phone and you're talking on Clubhouse, you don't know. And then I'm like, there's like 30,000 people in this room, and you're just talking like it's just regular.
Yep.
You know, I'm just talking like I'm talking to my friend on the phone, but I'm explaining. And then after the thing was done, my phone was blowing up with messages, and then out of all the messages I'm filtering through, and then there was an associate from NASA that was listening in.
Oh wow.
And I actually freestyled about COVID when I was on that when I was doing that Clubhouse. So they're like, how did you do that rap about COVID? And how was you able to do that? And then did you ever think about doing something for space? And that's where that conversation started. And then months later, I was invited. I hooked up with Tara Rutley, one of the main astronauts over there at NASA. Then I went to DC and hooked up with James Green. Shout out to James Green, by the way, good friend of mine. And he was involved in the Martian movie with Matt Damon to make sure that like everything they were doing on Mars was accurate in that movie, as accurate as possible with the terraforming. So then we sat down, and then he's like, I love the way you put science into medicine. And then before you knew it, we did a song about space, and then they launched it from the International Space Station on April 7th. First song ever.
That's insane.
So when they say when they launched it, so they actually shot it.
Yeah, so there was an astronaut that actually took there was a cube that he had the song loaded onto. So we showed footage of him loading the song on a cube, and then he was one of the astronauts that got sent up to space in 2023 with that music, and then we actually did a live stream from up there. Me and James Green.
It
nuts.
worked from up there. Man, it's crazy.
We heard it play. We heard it play from up
We
there.
were worried about Isaac not being here, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
we got it from space. It's okay."
Damn.
That was crazy, man. It was monumental.
Shout out to you, Isaac.
You know, just to be able to do something like that for hip hop, and then, you know, like
That's not so. That was your idea. I mean, you just came up with that from a Clubhouse interaction.
it happened. I mean, it got proposed to me to do a
Yeah.
song about space to launch it from space, and I'm like, all right, let me see.
You
what I
know,
can do.
you know what was crazy about Clubhouse? Like, I was like, man, I ain't getting on no more social media. But the girl Domo, who was on my show, she would like. I'm just using this as an example. Wasn't a thing, but she'd be like, "Yo, I talked to Too Short today. He said he'll come do the show." Like, she's meeting all these people, and I'm like, how do you know it's them? And we didn't, but so many.
Right.
Like, we got some really
Yeah.
popping guests during that time.
Yeah.
From Clubhouse, and I'm trying to understand this. Like, what do you mean you're a person in the room? You raise your hand, you
Right,
get
right.
fucking
Yeah.
voted up on the
That's
table.
crazy.
Like, I'm just like,
Yeah,
what in
yeah.
the?
Clubhouse
That
was
was
a crazy
it was
time.
too much. It was a little too much for me. And people doing that on Twitter too. It was
I
like,
didn't even look at it, so I didn't
couldn't-
even get to
I
see.
still couldn't figure it out. I can't. I'm like,
She was bringing in guest after guest from Clubhouse.
Mm.
So these people are showing up like not knowing, is that really her or is that
Right,
really
right.
that? It was just a.
And nowadays with AI, you can never tell.
Oh my god.
Everybody's impersonating everybody's
How-
voices now.
How do
Yeah.
you feel about that? Like with AI and AI and music?
Yeah.
Do you
I'm
feel
not-
like that's something maybe you would try, or you're just like, scratch that. We should just stick to like real lyrics
I
and
think
real.
so. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of like incorporating that into the music.
No,
like that,
when
no.
they said they were gonna,
I want to have control of my own voice and everything,
Mm-hmm.
involving my voice. So I don't want anybody else
That
using
would-
my voice.
Yeah, that would end music. I mean, that
Right.
would, and when they
'Cause
said
then
Drake
he-
was gonna win that
Yeah.
Grammy for it, and they were
Yeah.
saying that it was gonna be okay.
Well, Drake
I'm-
made a
When
hot
he did,
song.
he did Tupac's voice and everything.
Yeah, I don't even know. I just heard that, and I'm just like, man, the day that happens, and I
Yeah.
had a DJ Swamp. He was Beck's DJ.
Yeah.
He actually wrote a song for Dr. Dre, and then he sent it to me,
Yeah.
and it was in Dr. Dre's voice, but his voice when he was young
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah,
Dre.
yeah.
And he's like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "Bro, you sing it." I'm like, I can't listen to it like that. That
That's
ain't that's
crazy.
Dr. Dre 20 years ago.
Right.
he ain't-
They could take any voice.
Yeah,
And turn
it's-
it into so you don't
Anything.
recreate whatever you want.
Yeah.
So
But it's
crazy.
the authenticity factor is just that's
Mhm.
that's where the value is. So you have to be able to prove and show that this is authentic and this is not AI. This is actually
Is that kind of like auto-tune in a sense? AI,
yeah,
maybe.
sure. You could
Yeah.
say it's kind of like auto tune for sure.
You like you like auto-tune? Do you?
No, I'm not an auto tune. I don't use
Yeah.
any of that stuff, man. I'm straight up like literally pen to the pad to the mic
Mm.
Yeah.
type of person.
So
that's
yeah,
my
so I
passion.
saw you. You've worked with Fred Reck.
Yes.
Shout out to
Fred Reck.
him. Shout out to
Shout out to Aftermath.
Mr. Porter.
Mhm.
For people that don't know, he's a member of D12, but he's also he basically took Proof's spot, stepped in for Proof.
Mhm.
So he's out there on stage with M when he's performing. But he's a big time producer, man.
Yeah,
Mr. Porter
yeah.
works with Dr. Dre a lot.
Yeah, so I've known Mr. Porter like a long time since like I said, I've been in the Detroit hip hop scene for like since 2000. So
Yeah.
I always ran into these guys. Mr. Porter and me hooked up after I did the song in space, the Pale Blue Dot one. He gave me props for that, and then we started talking about production at that time, and he told me he doesn't do production for anyone. So that
I didn't think he did. That's why when I saw
Yeah,
you on
so-
there with him, I was like, damn.
So he was like, but I'm digging what you're doing, so let's work. So he sent me a beat pack, and the Scalpel beat was on there, and then as soon as I heard that track, I was just like, all right, I'm
That's
sure,
that sounded really. I mean, that track was really dope. It almost had a Rap God feel, but
Yeah.
not the fast part.
Yeah.
But I mean, did you put the cadence like that, or did he make the cadence like that?
I think it was in the beat, and I think the way that I wanted to attack that track was with the multi-syllables. I
Yeah.
wanted to really I really wanted to attack the multi-syllable aspect of it.
Yeah.
Giganotosaurus, gigabyte of storage, and just go crazy with it. And
Yeah, no, that was nuts.
that record,
that
and then
song.
when Mr. Porter heard it after it was done, he gave me a strong reaction, so I knew what time it was. So I was like, all right,
And I heard you say Swifty's name. Is he?
Yeah, yeah.
Is he producing?
Swifty,
Yeah.
Swifty.
Or you just doing work with
Yeah,
him?
I've done like countless records with him. I was on the Devil's Night mixtape, which came out I think 2015. It was
Yeah, I actually just.
that one.
I just bought it. It was, somebody told me they're like, yo, man, that when I told you about that album I got remember that album from NWA.
Mm-hmm.
My boy's like, yo, I just got Devil's Night for $4.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I look up Devil's Night because I'm like, I
The
don't got
album. You're talking about the album, right?
I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
got Devil's Night or D12 World in here.
Yeah.
I mean, I got Proof.
So they did a mixtape that was called the Devil's Night mixtape.
I saw that. I didn't even
and
know
was
that.
on the intro
Yeah.
to it, and then but I was on a track called Raw as It Gets. It was Swifty, Connival, Bizarre, and me. And then me, Swifty, Connival, we got a song called Lay the Law Down that came out. And me and Swifty have done a lot of songs on his albums, that he dropped and stuff like that. Swifty is that's my big brother.
Yeah, how's he been doing, man?
He's
I
doing great.
haven't seen him.
He's doing great.
in
He
forever.
recently did a movie with Nate, Dawn of the Nain Rouge, Devil's Night, Dawn of the Nain Rouge. So Nate was on there. That's how I met Nate.
Yeah.
Through that, and then that was just a dope experience. I was on a soundtrack. With
Yeah,
Swifty.
Nate's got a friend I think named Nemo.
Yeah,
that,
right.
That
Yeah,
gets
yeah.
him in all these movies.
Definitely. Yeah,
He's an actor.
Yep. Yeah, I met Nemo and Nate during that time when they were shooting the movie because me and Swifty were doing a soundtrack.
Yeah, that's sweet. And I saw you did some work with Obi Trice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
I got a track. It's got Obi, Royce. I've worked with Royce quite a few times as well. Me
Yeah.
and Royce actually record at the same studio. We did at that time. Royce got his own studio now, Heaven Studio. But Ivy Duncan, he was our mutual engineer. So that's how I met Royce back in the day.
Yeah, I love
That's my
Royce.
big bro.
Do you still live in Detroit?
No, I live out here.
Oh, you live in Vegas.
Yeah, I live. I'm in
When did you
Vegas
move to
now.
Vegas?
I live ever since after I graduated from residency, so it's been like almost 10 years. 10 years.
Mm.
Yeah. So I've been out, but I'm in Detroit so often. It's like I'm here and there.
Are you doing shows out there? Or are you doing?
I do shows. I did something out. I did a lot of stuff with Wu-Tang, with Jizza. I opened up for Jizza a lot of times. I did some co-headlining with him, and I also did. I just did a show in Windsor. Royce and me were on the same card over in Windsor.
Oh, that's
That
dope.
was recent too for the NFL draft.
Mm.
Yeah.
You have any shows coming up soon?
Right
Like
now,
in Vegas?
Yeah, I have to check and see when my next show is, but I did the Brooklyn Bowl a few
Oh,
times.
that's dope.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We actually went to the Brooklyn Bowl and we saw Reverie,
Yeah, it was Living Legends.
Living Legends.
I guess they were a group kind of like Wu-Tang, but they split up
Yeah.
I think for like 15, 16 years.
Yeah,
but
they were good.
they were dope.
Yeah, touring with the Wu was the craziest thing ever.
I can only imagine.
I can imagine. I used to do. I was a promoter. I did concerts on the side as well, but
Yeah.
countless shows.
Shout out to my man Divine 79. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. So who was I remember you said Jizza.
Yeah.
So I did a rave party one time, and I had Jizza, and he had somebody with him, Prodigal Son. Is he still in the mix with whatever?
Yeah.
But yeah, I had him at a rave party, and it was funny because we all got raided. The hotel we were staying at afterwards, everybody was smoking weed down the hall.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I'll never forget. I was leaving, and I was all fucked up. And I looked at Jizza, and they're standing there. They're like, "What are we supposed to do, man?" I'm like, "I don't know, man." I'm like, "We're all kicked out.
Do the drugs.
I
No,
guess we got to just walk to the next hotel or something." But
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are both from Detroit. Did you guys ever run into each other in the past? Do you think like that ever was a possibility? Because you used to run with Proof and you used to run with Proof.
Definitely.
we're close in
So-
age, but one
Yeah,
thing I'll tell you is Detroit. And I know you said you're what is it?
Pakistani.
Pakistan.
Yeah.
So Detroit, a lot of people don't understand when especially here in Vegas. I say
Yeah.
Chaldean.
Yeah.
It's very heavily populated. So when I was in
Yeah.
Detroit, people would think I was Chaldean. So I
Right.
know there's like Chaldean,
It's the largest
Albanian.
Muslim and Arabic population over there in Detroit.
Yeah.
So
I see a lot of guys, that look like him, but
yeah.
but no, but I mean I'm sure well it is. I mean these guys
And shout out to my brother Iron
Yeah.
Amir, man, Kronk fighter. He's
Yeah.
over here with me right now.
Kronk boxing gym.
Kronk boxing, man, and my brother actually is the one that taught me that like anytime somebody tell you can't do something, you gotta put your fists up, but that on combination with the studying. But
Yeah.
he would go in the ring and start knocking people out, and
Oh,
that was
wow.
his strategy because we dealt with a lot of racism growing up.
Mm-hmm.
and
in
that's-
Detroit.
Yeah. And
Racism from what from what?
just people just like attacking the mosques, attacking the house, like just different spray painting the cars and stuff. Go back home, especially after 9/11. There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I can only imagine that. Yeah, I read something you said when 9/11 hit, you thought
Yeah.
that was gonna end your
Yeah, that
end
was
your
everybody
career.
telling me at that time that after 9/11, like you can't be a rapper. No one's gonna
Wow.
accept you in the hip hop because as soon as they look at you, they're gonna be like, all right, well, yeah, people are gonna look at you as like in the terrorist category, so they're not gonna. No one's gonna want to listen to your records.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I dealt with a lot of stuff with labels, and then even later on with me because of my educational background is like you're too educated to be like pushing hip hop, and that never made sense.
Too educated for the streets.
too educated to push hip hop.
It's too educated to be recognized in hip hop.
That's crazy.
And the flip of that, what got me confident through that was Chuck D and the Wu telling me that, look, we need that in hip hop.
Absolutely.
I feel like a lot of people, but I feel like Royce the 5'9" is like a genius. I know he might not be a doctor, but I mean he's highly intelligent.
Yeah, now there's nothing, and I'm telling this to other people now. There's nothing wrong with having an education and loving the rhyme.
Did that
merging
help
two
you?
worlds.
Yeah, and it also can support your career.
Yeah,
where a lot of people, coming up in hip hop,
you have people that are, slinging dope and doing all types of other stuff to support their career. But as soon as you're doing something in the educational field, or now all of a sudden it's like corny or something. And that's where I come in, because I'm working, studying 16 hours a day. Then that's my hustle, and then I go and get in a booth and or get in a battle and rip somebody up as an MC. Like, that's my hustle. So how you gonna tell me I can't do that as a hustle?
How did you balance how did you balance studying medicine and also becoming, building your hip hop career?
Yeah, it was challenging. It was all about managing
sure.
time. Yeah, it was the discipline factor, but it was knowing that you got 24 hours in a day, and this day that we're living in right now is never coming back. We take each day for granted. We think that this is all, we have all the time in the world right now, but the time, it's not slowing down for nobody.
Sure
so you have to take every second of every day and make it count. And so you have to say, look, what do I want to do? You have to ask yourself that question. What do I want? Do I want to sit around and watch TV for the whole day? Or do I want to pursue a certain passion or dream? You got to know what you want, because the type of people that I don't like are the people that turn around and then regret that, why didn't I do this during this time? Why did I sit around and just do this at that time? So you want to have to ask yourself every morning, what do I want? What do I want to accomplish in my life? And if you say, hey, I want to pursue hip hop, to me, I want to be known as one of the greatest MCs of all time. I wake up with that mentality. I have to. And so what do I have to do today to do that? Well, I got to make time to go in the studio and work on my bars. So I'm going to make sure to do that, because that's something I wake up with every day. I want to go and study my I want to get the top grade in my biology test. What do I have to do today to make that happen? So you got to set this time to that time to do it. And then the hardest thing was to figure out the focus of it, because you might be involved in, let's say you have, I got a rap battle coming up, right? And I got a biology test at the same time. I might be doing a biology and studying in textbook, and all of a sudden I'm thinking about how I want to battle this guy. So you have to really channel your thought process, and say, look, right now
you're probably reading words in medical
that's where that came. Then I started putting pancreatic or duodenal artery into my, I'll do something like that. But you had to really focus on what you're doing at that time. So if it's studying, you have to have a block in your brain that says no, just this. Focus on your work. You're 110%. A patient's life is going to be in your hands, and at that time you have to be 150% focused. So do that, and then when I'm in the studio, put that to the side, and I'm 150% focused on dropping the best bars I could possibly drop.
See, I've always said that, especially with doctors, especially people in the ER. I'm like, these people can't have a bad day. You're dealing with life or death.
Life or death.
So it's like they can't, people who do, I look at same with dentists. Anybody who's working on somebody. Yeah. You can't go in hungover. You can't go in having that one weird day, and I mean that's the most heaviest discipline you got to have.
Right.
So what would happen? Let's say, okay, you're in your medical career right now, and then let's say your hip hop career just took off. You had to pick one or the other. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm in a position in a state where I can, organize my schedule the way I want. Luckily, I'm a hospitalist, right? So I work the shifts I want to work. So, my coordinator will say, hey,
what does that mean, by the way, hospitalist?
Yeah.
So internal medicine, the way you admit patients from the emergency room, they come into the hospital floor. So as soon as the ER says, hey, doc, they call me and they'll be like, hey, this guy's, he's got these symptoms, COPD exacerbation. He needs to be brought in for 3-4 days and be watched. So he's going to bring him to my service. Then I take care of him, manage him until it's time that he's better and he discharges. So I do their admission, and then I follow them through the hospital course and discharge them when they're stable.
Do you bounce around the hospitals out here, or are you with
I work at 8 different places. I work at 8 to 10.
I know there's Spring Valley.
Yeah. I used to work at Spring Valley. Right now I'm doing Sunrise, Mountain View Hospital. Then I work I work at a lot of the rehab centers out here. I'm actually the medical director at College Park Rehab Center. So
when you say rehab, is it like drug rehab?
No.
Rehab
it's
for
rehabilitation for
okay,
patients.
yeah.
So you know, when in the acute hospital, once you're done, they might say, okay, we need you need to get stronger. So let's say post-op surgical patients, and they need like an extra couple weeks in rehab just to get themselves stronger before they could go home. So they go to those places, but you need a physician overseeing their care as well.
Do you ever find yourself like rapping while you're like in the office with patients?
Yeah. It happens more recently. More patients have been recognizing me, which is crazy because I remember I was in a patient room and the patient recognized my song I did with Ghostface Killer.
That's so crazy,
So
though.
I was-
Like,
when
that's my doctor.
Yeah, when I was in the patient room, right? And then like
the morphine just kicked
yeah,
in.
I'm talking. I'm like, yeah. So tell me what. So you said you having chest pain. So is it radiating to your jaw, shoulder? Are you having shortness of breath associated? What's going on? And then he just looking at me, not answering. And I'm just thinking to myself like,
what's going on?
I'm like, do I got to consult the speech therapist to come and evaluate, make sure you're.
Is he having a stroke?
Does he have a stroke?
Right.
Or, you gotta.
Yeah.
What's going on?
So, but then all of a sudden, and then the patient's like starts reciting my bars from the song I did with Ghost, and then I'm like, oh, okay.
What?
When that happens, it trips me out, and
That
then
would be
I'll be
trippy.
like, and then I'll just kind of smile. I'll just be like, yeah, that's my twin, that.
It's my alter
cool.
ego.
But then
I don't know. Hey, you gotta wonder as a
Because you
patient.
got to be like
I don't know if that-
professional
You gotta
too at
cut
the
right
same
back.
time.
They gotta cut
Exactly.
right
Yeah.
back
Well,
into
that's
it.
like saying like just for instance, I'm in whatever. I'm in the hospital and I wake up and all of a sudden like Taylor Swift's my doctor. Like I would
Like
I
what?
would still be freaked out. Like
Yeah.
wait a minute,
Like-
how are you Taylor Swift and the doctor at the same time? Like
Yeah. No, there's a lot of
Yeah.
that happening. And then the flip side also happens. One time I did a show. I think it was here. I think it was at the MGM Grand, where there's I was performing and somebody passed out in the crowd.
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah.
So that was
Wow.
crazy. So I had to
Yeah, you
actually
had a
go in-
nurse like I'm a nurse, like trying to push you away, and then
Wait, so you were
Yeah.
performing and then someone passed
I had
out.
to stop what I was doing to get down and see what was going on with the person, make sure they were good. It just had to hydrate them and make sure.
Well,
they were
dude,
stable,
thank God we had a
stable.
doctor on the stage.
so-
like,
yeah, no,
Yeah,
there was,
so-
there was a
What?
nurse. There was a nurse like get away, I'm a nurse.
no, it's
so-
okay. I'm a doctor.
But yeah, people got tripped out by that because I was just performing. So it's like, how is
Yeah.
this guy also a
Yeah.
doctor? Doesn't make sense. They'll ask me like, you mean like Dr. Dre, like a
That's-
doctor like the
Uh-huh.
doctor of rap? I'm like, a real doctor. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
That's actually
that's-
like that's truly inspiring, and that some people can actually look up and be like, I can do something other than
Right.
just
And that's
one.
my
one
my message
profession.
to the people.
How do you treat most people like that? Like I see, Lincoln Park I used to see Chester do it all the time,
Yeah.
but when
Shout out
peop-
to Draven, by the way. I'm actually mentoring Draven Bennington.
Oh,
his
wow.
son.
Yeah.
At FBT Studio over there with Jake Bass and them. I've
Yep.
been working on their stuff.
oh, the Bass brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Bass is my dog.
Yep.
Yeah,
Those
that's
are the
my-
man.
That's my guy.
What was I gonna say? But when people pass out, I mean, what do you think? I mean, for the most part,
Yeah.
when people go down like that at a
Yeah, it's
hospital,
usually
just heat?
dehydration. Yeah, it's
Dehy-
usually heat, dehydration, and stuff. You give them some fluids, IV hydration. Usually they're back. You just got to be safe, and you got to make sure their heart and their brain, everything is okay. So you get a CAT scan of their head. You do an EKG, make sure that's good.
yeah,
But if it's not that, usually syncope or passing out is from like dehydration, mostly low blood pressure.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. No, I always wondered, man. I never, for some reason, I never ventured into
When
the
you're in
middle
a
of the
concert
crowd,
hall,
like-
it happens a lot when people pass
Yeah.
out, because they're dehydrated, they're moshing up together, and it's just
Drinking,
like drinking, all
whatever.
types of stuff, and then overexerting themselves, especially if it's a good concert, like a Lazarus show. So that turns into a medical a hip hop turned medical situation.
Wow.
Is it hard dealing with patients that are on drugs? Like when I say that, meaning like you're the doctor the night of EDC dealing with all that bullshit coming through.
I grew up around a lot of friends and family that have been through that process. So whereas like other doctors will start teasing and saying something like, oh, he's a drug addict coming in. I like to be a little bit more personable with these patients and actually get to know what their problems are, because these people are going through problems in their life. So the most important thing about any addict is trying to learn like what is it that's drew them to this pathway. I mean, these aren't just born criminals or drug addicts. Like you just toss that word around. Like these are human beings that have a problem.
Yeah.
And we want to try to address the problem, and not just medications, but we want to try to get in their brain a little bit too.
Yeah, no, I was at, EDC does about 300,000 people, and I walked by their medical tent one day, and I looked in there, and it looked like a war room.
I can only imagine.
There's like 1,000 cots of people, and I'm just like, how do you deal with that shit? Like, you're just kind of like you
I mean,
said,
here
just
I see
hydrating
a lot like alcohol withdrawal is like all the time. But like people going through delirium tremens and stuff when they start really shaking. from the withdrawal and
stuff.
stuff.
What do you do mostly on that?
It's just Librium, them on, like you give them Librium.
What's Librium?
It's a benzodiazepine that'll help with their symptoms. So basically, like their withdrawal symptoms will be subsided when you give them that, and it'll allow them to detox.
How long does it take for someone to detox from alcohol?
Usually 2 to 3 days. We might keep somebody in the hospital, and then we'll send them home and make sure that they're properly hydrating themselves and things like that.
Yeah. Do you ever see a flood of people when they do these EDCs or any of these festivals?
Yeah, I mean, when you have, it was Vegas, man.
Yeah.
So or even, I wasn't even thinking about it. So many people being wheelchaired out of these nightclubs and stuff.
Oh, my goodness,
They'll pop in the hospital, I'll see them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be like, man, I was probably performing up there.
Yeah.
It was all me.
Yeah. Man, what do you got wrote down over there, little Ray? She takes good notes usually.
So how do you manage to keep both passions going?
So that's my thing is like I make sure to set myself free of the chains that the people have put out there that you can only do certain things in your life. And once you free yourself mentally from that, and once you allow your brain to contemplate that you don't have to have chains around just having one thing that you're doing in your life, then you're able to just naturally find time to do those things and create those and bring them to life. So hip hop and medicine, to me, I've been stringing them along for 20 years.
I've been in the game for over 25 years, and I've never heard a medical and a whatever hand in hand like that. That's like amazing.
But to me, I feel like I want to get that message out to the rest of the people that think that it's not possible, because the same way you never heard of it and you might have thought it was impossible. I want people that are growing up thinking, hey, I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z, but everybody's saying I can't do this while I'm doing this. I want to be able to be a voice to those people.
It's so true. I think
because if I had a voice like that growing up, it would have made the journey a lot, more easy for me.
I talk about this all the time. I had a girl that I worked with. She was actually Filipino and black, and she ended up. We went on. It was called R&B American Idol. And I mean, she was singing. She sung a Kelly Rowland song. It was Kelly Rowland, Brandy, Bobby Brown was the judges, and she wins the competition. And so I'm in the process of getting her signed to Interscope, but the issue I was having was they're like, she doesn't fit the standard code of a pop star isn't a Filipino black girl. Right. It's a Britney Spears. It's a Justin Timberlake. So being from Pakistan, I mean, is it the same way in hip hop like
Absolutely. I mean, the roadblocks, the obstacles, the no's that I've been told my whole life. I'm an independent artist. I got my own record company, Laz Army Records. But from day one, the resistance that I felt and that I've had to push since the start of this thing is just if I was to put it in words, no number that you can measure up to that actually like measures up to the amount of resistance that I've had to face because of my ethnicity. People telling me I'm born the wrong color. People telling me that me being educated it means you can never be a hip hop artist. Me having to fight that every step of the way, and then to be able to constantly say that no, I'm not gonna listen to this label, that label, this person, that person. Like I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep pushing. Even when the resistance was so like the force was so hard that it's like I almost want to like just completely crumble to the ground. I just said no.
Have you had any label offers? Anything?
Yeah, no, I have. I've had. I don't really want to put their names out there.
Yeah.
But I've talked to record companies that were offering situations to me that just didn't make sense. And for me to be in that situation, I'm gonna be honest with you right now. They would say like, first of all, you got to hide your ethnicity, you got to hide your background and education.
But how do you hide that?
Lie about your your story. Say
like
certain
dumb
things.
yourself down.
Dumb it down and try to fit the mold. Try to make yourself look like and act like somebody that is already in the mainstream mix, because that's what you got to follow. I'm like, that's not the blueprint that I'm trying to follow. I'm trying to set my own blueprint, and that's when it becomes a problem with the labels, because they're like, no. They're not gonna rock with you if you say you're a doctor, bro.
Yeah, when we had Man here, and him and Nipsey were signed at the same time, they were kind of piggybacking off each other. They said, I won't say the label either, but they said the label wanted to make Nipsey Hussle and him a Disney rapper. He's like, Nipsey was like, I'm
Disney
out.
Rapper?
I don't know. I don't know if it's 100% true or not. But even like with 2 Chainz, he's college educated.
Yep.
But that story of his has been told by the labels to keep that in the back burner. Don't let people find that out.
Yeah.
So and to me that's just completely ridiculous. And I stand for education. And now, like, to me, like, I'm a voice for that. I just gave a speech at Michigan State University
I saw that,
with the dean of the medical school. And one of the, the big message I had for the people is that, like, use whatever artistic tools you can gather. If you have talents, use them to help drive medicine forward. Like we have to push forward as a community, as a race. You know, we can't constantly keep putting the lid on creativity and things that are outside of the box that can push certain things forward, you know, in the world. So to me, I'm pushing creativity, and I'm pushing opening people's minds up to the fact that you can actually accomplish all these different things simultaneously and make an impact while you're doing
so
it.
dope.
Yeah, well, that's why I don't think a lot of people from Detroit understand, you know, when I say, you know, Detroit's so heavily populated with, you know, again, I don't know the you know, when I came out here, I would expect that I'd see a lot of Chaldean people. When I was in Detroit, people thought I was Chaldean.
Oh, yeah.
I go to school in LA, everybody thought I was Hispanic.
Yeah.
So they'd come up and start speaking Spanish to me. But I'm just like, they didn't realize how heavily populated Detroit is.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
a melting pot. That's what I love about Detroit.
How do you describe the, you know, I always ask people this, Chaldean, like, what does that mean?
That's Arabic Christian.
Okay.
Arabic Christian.
I just, you know, I never know all the differences, and I just thought, because, you know, I told everybody, I'm like, in Detroit, they're the ones running all the shit.
Yeah.
You know, the
Right.
the
So over there,
the
you got the Chaldeans,
businessmen.
then you got the Lebanese, then you got the Yemeni.
Yemeni, yep.
Yemeni Muslims over there. So it was a lot of different ethnicities over there, man. So in being at Wayne State undergrad, like when I was doing the ciphers over there, it was just dope because you saw all colors of people all coming together.
Do you remember hearing about Mr. Vanilla Ice getting beat up out there?
Yeah, I mean, you hear all sorts of stories. And then Trick is my guy, so you know what I'm saying?
He wore, that was, well, the reason I brought that up, that was actually at my nightclub.
Was it?
Yeah, I own Panacea downtown.
Yeah,
I was arguing with him literally because he didn't want to do Ice Ice Baby. He wanted to do the rock version. And I'm like, no, bro, you gotta do the shit that you're getting paid to.
You do the Ninja Turtle rap?
Yeah, you gotta do whatever. But then he comes out wearing a shirt that says "Fuck Iraq."
Oh my god!
Again, not understanding the environment he's in.
And this is after 9/11.
Wow.
When was 9/11?
2001.
Yeah, well, yeah, I own the club.
9/11, 2001.
Oh, okay. So I own the club from 2001 to 2005. So, but yeah, and I mean, again, that's not something somebody would know unless they were from Detroit. But
Right.
you know, he was in a heavily populated area
Right,
to be
right.
wearing a shirt like
was
that.
he trying to get purposely trying to get his ass kicked? Or
No,
Right.
I honestly thought, like, I know it wasn't purposely done, and you know, if you're not from Detroit, you don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think somebody should have told him. I mean, I didn't see it till it was already too late, but you know, somebody should have probably let him know. But he was just trying to be the guy. There's a war going on, and whatever.
Right.
I don't even know what you call those guys, but yeah, he learned. I don't think he'll ever do that in Detroit. In Detroit again. Did you ever do anything with Trick?
Yeah, Trick. Now I haven't done any records with him, but
Yeah.
I've seen him so many times all over the place. He's always everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
No, I've been seeing him for
big homie.
so long. Even seeing him now as the older Trick, I'm like, he's still scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, well,
Why is he scary?
he was just, you know, I would
Yeah, I
say.
seen them. They was
See for the
performing.
streets?
They was just performing "Welcome to Detroit" over in.
Yeah,
the games.
that was awesome.
dope.
Yeah, I can't even believe that. You know, that even that whole song lineup that they chose, I couldn't believe that they actually. I was happy they let Trick come out and
Oh, that was
perform,
dope.
but
Oh,
yeah, but that was.
No, I mean, Trick did it himself. He just did a show like at one of the games.
Oh
Lions
yes,
games.
I did
Yeah,
hear
it just
that.
happened
Yeah, it
last
just
week or
happened.
something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. He's been around a long time, but no, they did a thing, you know, like you know, with all this check-in stuff and all over the world. You know, if you came to Detroit, Trick would be the guy.
Well, you got check-in.
I mean, it's amazing. Detroit got that rep all over the world. Like, so I go to Pakistan all the time, and then you know, I'm working with the biggest artists from India. So it's like you have the influence that Detroit has had, the hip hop scene in Detroit all around the world with MD12 and Royce the 5'9". It's just Slum Village. It's just amazing because it reverberates everywhere, and it's just an honor to be able to continue, you know, pushing the Detroit brand all over the world.
I just introduced Little Rach. We were in LA a couple weeks ago, but I introduced her to she didn't know who Jay Dilla was, so I'm like, I'm like, you gotta hear this. But Jay Dilla
Elzai is my guy too. Elzai, shout out to Elzai.
He's also Slum Village. But yeah, I mean, Detroit's just you know, like I said, I always say I miss the people there, but I was like, I just
it's
can't.
the winners, man. It's those winners. This is crazy. Like living out here in Vegas is just, I don't miss those winners.
I'm from the East Coast, and like it's cold over there, so I can only imagine Detroit, Maryland.
Maryland, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you call that normally? You said the DMV.
DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that's what we call it.
I've never heard that before. So are we all gonna die from Detroit from eating, what is it, the Coney Islands?
Wait, what?
Are we all?
That's the number one killer in the world. Man. All that fast food
really?
Everywhere.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Bazaar's always at the Coney. Shout out to Bazaar.
Yeah,
Bazaar worked a lot. I did a song. I did a song with Bazaar called "Open Heart Surgery." Yeah. So it was. So at one point I was working with Russell Simmons. I was signed to All Def Digital, which is his YouTube platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I performed at his house in 2013, and then I started making content for All Def Digital. And we sat down, and he was like, "Well, can you do something like a medical kind of song?" So I was like, "All right, let me see what I can do." So I called the homies back home in Detroit. I was like, "Yo, Biz." Bazaar was actually trying to work with me on something else. So, and then I'm like, yo, I want to do this track for Russell Simmons on All Def Digital. And I had this idea. So I told him about it. I'm like, I'm going to have you on the operating table and I'm going to lyrically perform Open Heart Surgery on you. At first he was like, but then we did it. We got an award for it too.
Oh, man,
what?
that's
The
great.
Underground Hip Hop Awards.
It's like playing Operation.
Yeah, I beat. It was
Oh
Joyner. I beat Joyner
I
Lucas.
love that game.
Joyner Lucas was up for that same award. I got it at the Underground Music
wow.
Awards in
Damn.
Times Square. That was back in like 2015 or something like that.
So basically you were doing an operation on Bazaar and you had to rap exactly
The
what
whole
you were
operation.
doing
Yeah.
Wow,
I remember
I need to
being
go-
first
I need to hear
assist
that.
doing open heart surgery, and I remember being the most intricate thing that I've ever witnessed in my life. But then as I was breaking it down, like how they're actually performing the surgery, I was like, I'm going to rap about this one day, and that was my opportunity, and I did it.
Wow.
So, yeah. That's out there on YouTube. Check it out.
Yeah.
Open heart surgery.
One of a
Lazarus
kind.
Bazaar.
No, I can, just from being around people, and especially lyricists, I can't imagine going through med school and just the words you're coming across.
And then Bazaar
Mm-hmm.
hooked me up on his album with song he did with Hobson. So
Yeah.
Hobson,
shout out to Hobson.
Yeah, shout out to me and Hobson, King Gordy, and Bazaar were on the same track.
Dude, I
It
love
was
King
called
Gordy. I
Manifest.
actually haven't heard King Gordy's name in a long time, although I don't go back to Detroit a lot, but I used to love King Gordy.
That's my bro.
And remember Paradigm even?
Oh yeah, that's my bro.
Yeah.
He still hits me to this date.
Paradigm?
Yeah, Paradigm. Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk still.
Yeah, I'm always like, man, I actually thought he was gonna break out. I thought he had a chance, and then he goes and just.
There was a lot of Hush. There's a lot of people. There's a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
people,
Hush.
I
remember
in
him.
touch. He's still a lot of these guys. We're all still in touch with each other, which is great.
Yeah.
I used to be in that circuit. I go to Alvin's, the Lush Lounge, the Shelter, St. Andrews, the
Yeah.
Magic Stick, all over. Boom, 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 boom. Not here then there. Like every day there was something going on.
That's what I said. We talk about it out here. We've had a lot of hip hop people. I say there is a lot of music people here in Vegas, but there's no culture.
Yeah,
And when they try to say
Mhm.
like just what you said, every night of the week in Detroit, we were at a different place.
Yeah.
And that's all we ever. That's all we talked about.
And that's where I seen like Proof all the time. So
Yeah.
Proof would actually be judging my battles and stuff. Swifty would be judging my battles at that time, and it was just that's how I'd run into everybody.
Yeah, and out here it's just like they don't have anywhere to showcase themselves.
Yeah.
So it's difficult because it's like, how are you gonna know if you're good or if you're not? Because Detroit's the truth.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
you get up there and you got some flaws. They're gonna let
Oh,
you
yeah,
know
right
every single one of them, which is a good thing.
Yeah, but
in the
that's
long
being
run.
cut from that cloth. Like I feel that's where that mentality comes from, the perfectionism in the writing process. That's what makes me like I feel like I'm cut from that cloth where it's like it's not enough for me to drop this verse like this. I got to go back and drop it and be even more a perfectionist in every syllable, every bar, every cadence, every flow, every pattern. Like I obsess over it. I think just
Do you work on beats at all?
I don't do production.
Okay.
Now maybe one day,
Yeah.
but I work with a lot of dope producers, man. So
Yeah,
they
no,
supply,
you don't need to with the ones
and
you
I
got.
get on the mic.
You're good. What do you feel about just basically living here in Vegas, versus Detroit?
Well, I mean, to me, like,
Do you have
here
a family, by the way? That's what I meant. to get at.
no kids.
No kids?
No
Married?
kids, married, yeah, but no kids, yeah.
How long you been married for?
It's been almost 13 years. Yeah.
See, these damn Michigan people, man.
Yeah, man.
Dude, my
Gotta
mom
get your
and
boo
dad were
somewhere
married
else.
54 years.
Oh, for real?
And one of the things, my dad passed in 2017, but he had told me,
Yeah.
he's like, what are you doing, man? You're a family person, and it's just traveling and living here in Vegas in particular. I'm like, you meet there are a lot of
Yeah.
good girls, there are a lot of good guys,
Mhm.
but they're already married or they're
Right.
with somebody, and I'm like, I'm just not that dude anymore. I ain't gonna go try to break up somebody's marriage.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is a tough town, and my dad told me, he goes, He's like, one day you're gonna be 40, then you're gonna be 45, then you're gonna be 50, and you're gonna turn around and be like, what happened?
Right.
And I mean, that's kind of how I feel. I'm
That's
like,
so
I'm
real.
48, and I'm like, man, I would love to get married.
Yeah.
So it's like I run into Michigan people, and I mean, it just I love hearing them say that they're still in this relationship. And
Right.
I mean, I went to high school with people that never left the town, you know, that are still there, still married to each other. And you know, I kind of laughed to myself. I was telling someone the other day, I get hit up by people that I didn't even know in third grade, but I mean, I remembered them, but I didn't even know them. And then they would come out here and they would really push me meeting with them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, you know, I'm real like.
So
antsy.
Vegas to me is like work. It's a workplace. So I work. If I'm in Vegas, I'm probably working. I'm usually not in Vegas just to be hanging out like that, because I'll either be in Detroit or I'll be on tour doing something else music related somewhere else. But then Vegas is also a place where you get to meet people in the industry, and people are always coming in and out of Vegas. So I met so many people just being here.
That's what I said. My reason for staying, and especially doing a show like this, is I'm like, you know, people don't realize when these, you know, hip hop, any genre comes out here. These guys ain't trying to go hang out at Excess after their show. Like, you know, they're here for business. They, you know, in their free time, they want to do shows like this or just something with their time, you know. But the last thing you're gonna see them doing is out clubbing.
For sure.
You know, you know that you get to do that pretty much.
Well, that happens too, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
No, but it's just a fantastic experience out here. Living in Vegas is dope. You know, I like it. But yeah, Detroit is still home. You know, that's
what I said.
What I read.
Man, I said I miss the people, but you know, everybody comes out here. Yeah, where that last story where I was going with it is, it took me a minute to realize, because I'm like, why is this person pursuing me, meeting up with them so much? And then I realized, you know, some of these people from Detroit, that might be the one vacation they ever took in their life.
Yeah.
And so it's so important that, you know, so I'm more aware of that now.
Yeah.
So when people call me, I mean, it's got to be somebody I know a little bit better, but,
right.
you know, the people I've been in contact with, like DJ Godfather, he was always one of my really good friends, you know, they come out. You know, so I see them enough to where, you know,
Do you get around a lot? You travel a lot?
No. I'm pretty. Yeah, I'm as homebody as they come. Just, you know, I obviously, you know, the tour life. You know, I did that for a long time, and it's the most unhealthy. Unhealthy. And when I was touring, there wasn't Instagram, and I'm like, shit. Now, if you could go on Clubhouse and whatever, all these webcam sites, life would have been good. They don't realize that you're sitting in a hotel room. With nothing to do. You know, I would actually listen to demos. I'd listen to people's shit.
And even like when I was, you know, touring with the Wu-Tang and Nas and going around, it was just kind of like you go to places where you want to actually venture, visit, explore. You're in and out. You got to go. You go to sound check. Then you get ready. The crowd's there. You got to perform. When you're done, you're so damn tired, and then you got to get on the bus or the plane, and now before you know it, you're in another place. I remember overseas. I was like, I want to spend a little more time in Australia and a lot of little joints here. But I went. We were in Sydney for like 4 nights.
Yeah, that was Proof's favorite place.
And then I actually had a chance to chill in Sydney for a little bit. But then we went to New Zealand, and it was just like, boom, I blinked for a second. We was on the plane together. Jizza would be right there, RZA, everybody. And then I'm in another city. And then perform, sound check, perform, out, and then I'm blink my eye and I'm in another.
It's like
city.
that audio, bus, club,
just like that.
plane.
Well, that's what. Well, people would always ask me. They'd be like, "Oh man, you were lucky. How was Russia?" And I'm like, I don't know. We got off the plane and you got right back on it, and then that's where I said, you know, the issues with all of us getting hooked on sleeping pills is, you know, you're losing days, you're losing times. You're like,
because you're in your schedule. It's like you're not.
You don't go to sleep till 7 a.m. 8
and then
a.m.
before you know it, you're back to work. You're back to getting on the stage and doing. So it's like very tough to actually like make up your sleep time, and then you're exhausted all the time. And then when you're trying to sleep,
you gotta give that energy.
And then when you're trying to sleep, you got everybody around you that's just keeping you up anyway. Because then they're up.
Rest in peace, Proof. But he ain't letting nobody sleep. I can promise you that. If he's in. So what other adventures you got coming up on the?
Well, right now I got a record coming out in 3 days, actually this Friday. So as I was telling you, I'm an independent artist, and artist that signed under my label. It's called Laz Army Records. Is the 14-year-old kid. I signed him when he was 11. His name is Kaki Thousand. He raps in Urdu, but he's from the slums of Pakistan, from a town called Liadi in Karachi. It's one of the poorest areas there, and you know, being able to take him onto this platform and allow him to expose his talent on bigger, you know, on bigger vessels. To me, that's just a beautiful thing. And his record, and I'm on it. I got a verse on it. It's coming out this Friday. We filmed it over by the K2 Mountain the second largest mountain in the world over there. So I'm super excited for this to drop. It's called Shahanshah, which translates to King of Kings.
So back in Pakistan, is there a hip hop culture out there?
Now it's booming. It's crazy. When I started rapping, I went back there was no sign or anyone listening to hip hop. Now it's like it's becoming like the most popular music.
Do you feel like you brought that culture a little bit?
Oh, I mean, it was my influences on all the biggest artists from India and from Pakistan.
That's
I was gonna say, do they kind of hate on you that you're over here in America?
I mean, you get that, but once you go over there, it's just love, man. It's all love.
Yeah,
you know?
I know. I had a friend tell me, he was telling me and showing me some music about a guy, Armin.
Yeah, that's my boy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, and that's why I listened to his shit. I'm like, damn, he's dope.
Yeah.
So what is Armenian?
Armenian. Yeah.
Okay.
Hence the Armenian.
Yeah. Armenian.
He named his name from, but yeah, for me, like, like hip hop, and because the populations over there are so big, it's the biggest. It's like the market for hip hop is just booming. It's on a whole nother level over there. Like hip hop is flourishing.
Have you done any shows over there?
Yeah, in Pakistan I have. Yeah, and I'm getting ready to do some stuff out in India as well. So yeah, definitely, man. The demographics over there, they're loving hip hop. They're in.
What type of artists go over there? I feel like has Wu-Tang been there?
I don't think Wu-Tang. I'm trying to get them over there.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get them over there. They love hip hop there, man.
Yeah,
they love their hip hop.
No, yeah, that's one of the craziest places that I ended up in, and it was on accident. Kind of was Istanbul, Turkey.
Yeah,
and
I've been there many times. Love that city.
Hey, we were getting shuttled in there on a Jeep, and these people had machine guns, and I'm like, yo,
oh yeah, this
heavy
weaponry, but the people are very peaceful.
They're great, but I'm just like, why are we riding with people in a machine gun?
It's just like
just kill me right now.
They got to protect their city. That's
yeah,
that's true.
I love it. Yeah, anytime we've been overseas, it's been a good experience.
It's peace, it's love out there, man. And even like Pakistan is becoming a big area of tourism. It's so beautiful. The people are so friendly over there, hospitable, and people have this concept of terrorism and bad that evil that. You got to go over there and actually visit yourself, and you're gonna notice the hospitality is.
Oh yeah, I know it's
just the propaganda.
It's the propaganda.
Yeah.
They put that
media
in
brainwashing.
Yeah,
that's all that is.
Yeah. So true.
You got anything else over there, Lil Rach? You busted some good.
Should we talk about the Bruno Mars?
What did Bruno Mars do?
Hey Isaac, can you pull up that article?
What did he do?
Okay, so everyone knows about Bruno Mars. He's hurting real bad.
Dude, I heard he this is Isaac would have to confirm the
number. He owes the casino like
$53 million.
Yeah.
What happened?
He lost like $53 million. I heard to the MGM corporation. So I heard that.
Oh wait, the other one, Isaac.
Not that one, but
speaking of Sean Diddy though.
Diddy done, man.
Diddy done did it.
Yeah, Diddy.
And he can't get no bail either.
Yeah, they wouldn't even take the 50
he doesn't
million
deserve
bail.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Isaac, can you go to the Miley Cyrus one, please? Oh.
The Miley. He's probably on.
Okay, thank you.
He's probably changing his kid's diaper.
Yeah. So Bruno Mars
we heard he does his show, and I've heard. I haven't seen it. It's one of the best shows you could ever go to, production-wise.
Yeah,
it's insane. But that's how he's paying off his debt back to the casino. But I'm like, how the fuck?
Because he's an avid gambler.
How would you even let somebody lose $53 million?
Yeah, so he's suing Miley Cyrus over the song "Flowers" because it's like it sounds like one of Bruno Mars' songs.
Oh, for real?
I'm like, damn, Bruno, you must be hurting pretty bad if you got to be doing that.
You think he's gonna be able to get something from that?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
No, they're gonna be like, man, he's just a gambler.
That's crazy, man.
Just trying to find ways.
Yeah, all I remember.
Because it claims that the melody, harmony, and chorus in "Flowers" are substantially similar to the verse in "When I Was Your Man."
Yeah, no, I've seen.
Don't they do that already? Don't artists copy other artists all the time?
Well, go into Diddy.
Yeah,
going back to Diddy, the "I'll Be Missing You," he took that from Sting, $5,000 a day.
Yeah, for sure.
To Sting for using his thing, and then I guess Sting has another person who uses shit too. So I guess they became friends. But I'm like, I'd be friends too if I got $5,000 a day per day.
That's crazy.
Since that came out.
Yeah,
I'd just be chilling.
Nah, people be copying for sure.
All right, so we're gonna go into this segment where we're just gonna give you 10 quick questions.
Sure.
So you just answer it as quick as you can. You go ahead
Shall
and
we
start
start
it
it?
off.
You gotta remember,
Alright.
I'm a doctor and I'm
No,
over here working, so you gotta be careful,
yeah,
right?
no, I'm careful with my questions.
Okay, well, if you could save the lives of 365 children by giving up the internet for a year, would you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a no-brainer. He better say yeah.
Let me tell you something, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish we didn't have this whole thing.
I
Because
really wish
people
we didn't.
people that grow up, this new generation that's living that's dependent 100%, they never had a time where they didn't have it. And if I sit back and ponder on my memories, I actually had a better experience not having all those distractions and
Way
having to
better.
have more time for your personal relationships with your friends and family, and
Backyard
not having
football.
all your business out there at all times, man.
Yeah, no, social media has really hurt us a lot. Would you streak naked up and down your street for $500?
No, what I need to do that for?
Exactly. You wouldn't. I wouldn't. Think
500 is 500 though.
Yeah. Maybe for Vegas people with these gambling issues, they might consider that.
Yeah, maybe Bruno. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
Bruno would do
Bruno
it.
do it.
He'll do it for free, probably.
He will be like, yeah, let me get my
Bruno gives me
sprinting shoes on.
Michael Jackson vibes a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you drink a glass full of someone else's piss for 5,000?
What kind of questions are these, man?
Yeah, geez.
What's wrong? I'm like Scarface. Like, what's wrong with this?
Yeah.
Hey, these are
5,000.
bad
What's wrong with you?
choices. This
Bad
is what
choices.
True chose this game, right?
Yeah. Have you ever run into a former lover and not remembered their name? Yeah, I don't think that that's really possible. That's like people say going to tours real quick. They'll always be like, "Do you remember me?" And I'm like, "If you remember me, I remember you."
I remember everything.
Yeah, I remember everything. If you talk to me, then yeah, I remember you 100%.
If I can remember the muscles and the vessels in the system in the body, then I remember
Yeah.
definitely.
So would you spend the night in a porta potty for $10,000?
No, I wouldn't do any of these things for $10,000.
Hey, he's already making money, man. He's
got the money. He's the doctor.
Yeah, he's not the
But like,
the struggling
it's only a night.
rapper.
It's only a night in the porta potty. What if it's a clean one?
Sorry.
And you get pillows and blankets.
Have you
Okay.
ever?
Thank
have
you, no thank you.
Have you ever secretly thought that you would make a really good gangster?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think you have
Absolutely.
that down pat for sure.
Absolutely.
Would you be willing to look 10 years older in order to retire 10 years earlier?
No.
Damn.
Sorry.
Okay.
I wouldn't either on that one.
No, I enjoy my youthful glow.
Mm.
Have you ever lied to leave in the middle of a first date?
Yeah.
Me too.
Absolutely.
I like that. Me too.
I have to switch it up because I was like, I don't know if this is a good question to ask.
Yeah,
Miss
we're not
Dr.
doing-
Khan.
Yeah,
We're not doing any of those gross things, all right?
No.
Dr. Khan, do you have a hidden body piercing or tattoo?
I do not.
Oh, you're tattoo-less?
I'm tattoo-less and I'm
You're
piercing-less.
tattoo-less?
Yeah.
Come, look at this guy right here,
No,
tatted
I mean,
up.
Dude,
Hey,
I
man.
never thought of it. Like I said, I never thought I would do it, and I did. And I kind of tell people now I'm
Yeah.
glad because it all symbolizes different places that I
see the
work
D everywhere,
in
man.
my life.
I mean, people see you. They know you from Detroit.
Yep, and then a lot of people see the 11s.
Yeah.
That's my daughter's name. It's actually spelled like that, so
Oh,
it's
yeah?
1111.
Okay.
But she
Yeah.
just goes by 11 now. But I think once she hits 18, she'll probably go to 1111. People
Mm-hmm.
understand. Have you ever slept with someone just because you wanted to be a good wingman?
No.
No, yeah, that's the friend that leaves you with the ugly
Yeah.
friend. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Lazarus, for coming by. We
For sure,
appreciate
man.
it.
Absolutely. Troy.
Social media.
Yeah. Where can
Yeah.
people find you at?
Yeah, so I'm Laz Detroit all across the board. LAZ Detroit. As you was calling me Laz Detroit, but it's Lazarus.
Laz
But,
D.
Lazarus,
Yeah, Laz
yep.
Detroit. And so that's why I tattooed Detroit on my thing. It's like Detroit is right there. You can
Yeah.
see it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Laz from Detroit. So
Got
Laz
it.
Detroit everywhere. And then this Friday, Shahan Shaw is the track coming out. Make sure you guys tune in. Make sure you guys check out God Sent Me, which I released with Fred Reck recently.
Mhm.
And then Mr. Porter produced the Scalpel joint, which did well.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Got 5 million views on that one.
Woo.
True. I'm
yes.
sick.
So pushing independently. Don't let anybody tell you what you can and what you can't do. Focus on yourself. Know what you're capable of. Make time for it in your day, because life is short. We all
That's
gotta
what
die,
I'm-
so die happy and die fulfilled.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
How about you, Little Rach? Where can they find you at?
Well, you can find me on the interwebs at LilRach, LALRAYCH.
All right. And
What
then
about
you can
True?
just only on Green Room Radio. I got my personal page got jacked, and I started another one, but I realized I'm at an age where I can't handle two pages.
For sure, man.
So I'm just on Green Room Radio. But thank you so much for coming by. We'll definitely check in with you.
All right.
Especially being that you're
now we gotta watch
Vegas,
a show.
I'm here, so
Vegas local, and I definitely want to see you at a show. I don't want to see you as a patient.
I know, right?
I want to see
you might have to one day.
I know. I'm
right?
like, damn.
Shit, well, now we know a doctor.
Maybe on the same day as the show.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, peace out, y'all.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you very much. Yep.